Those who say that all golden ages are behind us have turned a deaf ear to the American Symphony Orchestra. Under the leadership of mostly young, foreign-born conductors, the country's major ensembles are flourishing. Andre Previn, music director of the Pittsburgh, is typical in age, continent of birth, and commitment to excellence. He is atypical in his range of talents. Previn has been called a complete musician in an age of soul-wrenching specialization, one driven to communicate at every level.
I have repeatedly said that I'm really a conductor who also does other things. I like to compose, but I'm not driven by genius to composing. You know, I just like to write. I occasionally play a concerto and conduct from the keyboard, but I'm always playing somewhere because, oh, I don't know, I think it's wrong almost that didactically to stand up on a box and keep telling people how to play if you don't play yourself. So, in terms of gratification, I suppose I have to admit that I like all three, but I'm basically a conductor.
If it's comfortable for you, you tell me, at bar 65, second time round only, that it could be a little slower, like a real Ländler rather than a trio. So, strings, please be advised, second time round at bar 65, a little slower and even softer, and then we make the customary rallentando. Okay, can we play 53 as if it were the second time round?
Well, in the old days, about a generation or two back, I suppose there were a lot of martinets who ruled the orchestra principally by fear. However, it has to be added that they were wonderful conductors. I mean, it's not telling tales out of school to say that one of my predecessors here in Pittsburgh, Fritz Reiner, really was pretty much of a tough customer, and so was George Zell in Cleveland and a lot of other people, and they got the most magnificent results. But I think that they would probably feel nowadays, if we were still fortunate enough to have them around, that doesn't work very well. Musicians in the age average in the great orchestras has come down, a lot of younger people, and I don't think that they particularly like being ordered or yelled at or peremptorily told how to play something. It's difficult to convince an orchestra that what you are doing is at least momentarily the right thing. And if you can convince them on a musicianly and musical basis, instead of simply saying, well, this is the way I want it and that's the way you're going to play it, I think it helps the interpretation all around, because I think the musicians nowadays are so smart and so educated and so willing that if they can find a musical reason for doing something that might be slightly divergent from the way they would ordinarily tackle it, that it helps the overall interpretation of the whole orchestra, of the whole piece.
Now, 20 and 21, first violins, is that all one slur? Let's not do it that way. Let's do it da-yam, dee-dum, da-yam, dee-dum. Okay. Long note, though. Long, put a line over it.
Well, when it comes to interpreting a piece, you really have to tread a very fine line, because surely the greatest responsibility is to the composer. Whether that composer is an immortal giant like Mozart or someone brand new that has never had a piece played before, basically, I mean, philosophically, makes no difference. It's his music, and you have to do him credit. I think that to have the kind of ego that dictates that what you think of a piece supersedes that which the composer wrote down is really not on. I don't think that's a good idea at all. I have a theory that a great orchestra is one of a city's most desirable exports. I think that it shows a city off more than anything else they can send around the world. And so I instigated those tours again, and since then we've been to Europe twice. We're going to Hong Kong next year. We're going to Europe again the following year. We have annual tours in New York and all around the country. And we started recording again with with quite some result. I think we've now made something like 18 records, and we'll continue to do so. And of course there was the PBS series for a couple of years, which will again continue. And those things, I think it's how can I say, it's kind of dog in the manger to disregard mass media in the 20th century. And if you can, without disgracing yourself, if you can present great music on television, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing a guest shot on Laverne and Shirley.
I've spoken about Mozart through just some of his keyboard works, just a few works from his vast output of 626 pieces. It would need, several programs, no, several series, several lifetimes to do justice to this most amazing of all composers. It would be nice and neat to be able to say that everything I've tried to point out about Mozart is contained in the very concerto we're about to play for you, or that Mozart's most beautiful tunes, his most remarkable technique, or his most emotional appeal is in this one piece. Well, yes, it would be nice and neat to close the program, but it doesn't happen to be true. There are 27 piano concertos, as I said. There are 41 symphonies, scores of chamber works, orchestral works, symphonies, operas, church music, and each one of them has some of the most sublime music ever written.
A day without music, a day that I spend without either conducting it, playing it, studying it, hearing it, or talking about it, is a day lost out of my life that I can't recapture. And if that sounds a little pompous, I don't mean it as that, because I'm very sincere about it. I think that any day that I spend, and that most of my colleagues spend, not concerned with music in one way or another, is an irretrievable loss. I must have it. I've been enamored of music all my life, and to a degree that almost excludes anything else.
A copy of the program you've just seen can be purchased through Penn State Media Sales at mediasales.psu.edu or by calling 800-770-2111.